So again, just to like reiterate what Isha said, we will be taking all the general questions first, not department specific. And these are the questions which you guys have put in the Excel sheet which we shared, the Google Doc which we shared. So our panelists will be answering that. And apart from that, if you have any more questions, please wait for this entire like the session to like basically for us to complete those set of questions. And then if you have any more questions, you can raise your hand, and then Isha can call your name, and then you can ask the question, or you can always ask questions in the chat box. And then like Isha said, we will have breakout rooms where you can ask only department specific. So please avoid asking department specific questions here.
Okay, so let me just tell you about a little bit about Desijags. So we are an organization, we are an Indian Students Association at IUPUI. And we have been focused on helping international students right from the time they are admitted to the university, by the time that they leave the university and they graduate. So we celebrate all of the Indian festivals like Garba, Diwali, Holi, and we also welcome. We also host like welcome parties. We have the meet and greet sessions like we're a part of now. Um, for all the international students at the beginning of each semester. So apart from that, we also have like interactive opportunities for everyone. So yeah, that was a little bit. So all this like gives everyone an opportunity to interact with all the seniors and batchmates, and to just feel them all lively and homely. You know, all the festivals are so important because it's like feeling homesick all the time, and then when you get to interact with people, it's all good all at once, right? So apart from that, like we are the largest student organization on campus, and we have received like the best student organization award many times, among the most like 500 plus other student organizations that we have on campus, right? So we also partner with the school officials and organizations like the Office of International Affairs, like the GPSG and others, to give like all those international students like the help that they would need throughout their journey at IUPUI. So I think I would just introduce all the panelists now. Just if we So yeah, starting with our president, Pujita Allah. She's the Pujita, can you just?
Yeah. So hi everyone, I am Pujita and I am the current president for Desijags, and I'm also doing my master's in bioinformatics.
The next we have Shesha as our vice president of events and festivals, and he's studying bioinformatics. I'm Isha Gupta, and I'm the vice president of student affairs, and I study electrical and computer engineering at IUPUI. We have Nikita Sinha as the team leads of events and festivals, and she's also studying electrical and computer engineering at IUPUI. We have Anvi as the reservationist, and she's a undergrad of like mechanical engineering. The next up is Krishna Kumar, and he's the team lead of PR, which is the public relations at Desijags, and he's a PhD student, chemistry. The next is Teja Torlakonda. He's a treasurer at Desijags, and he's also studying electrical and computer engineering at IUPUI. Nishit Reddy is the risk manager and he's studying mechanical engineering. Ankit, he's a member of the student affairs, and he's studying computer CIS. Apart from that, we have Krishna Aki, and he was the one of the founders of Desi Jags many years ago, and he has graduated with computer science. Apurva Bendre, she was the ex-president, and she is a PhD economics student. So Apurva was just the president before this semester started, and she has done a lot of things for the committee and stood up. We have Vidur Daulatabad, and he was another co-founder of Desijags, and he's a PhD in bioinformatics. I think he just graduated this semester, so yes, he's not a PhD student anymore. We have Archit, and he's graduated with computer science degree. We also have Palak Jain, who would be answering all your ADS questions. We have Vanya Srivastav from HCI department and would be answering all your HCI related questions. We also have Sai Vella today with us to answer all your human informatics department questions. Okay, I guess I have tried to introduce everyone. Is there anyone that? Okay, so not to just waste any more minutes, and we can just start with addressing all the questions at once. And okay. Nikita, would you like to start with the questions?
Yeah, sure. So the first question would be, what after you get your visa approved? And it will be answered by Ankit.
Hey, hi all. So hope you are doing good. So the question is, what after your visa gets approved? So once your visa is approved, you should inform OIA, that is Office of International Affairs, and your department via your program coordinator that your visa has now been approved. And your program coordinator will help you to get the list of subjects, and you should register for the subjects before the deadline. And after you have got your visa, you should start booking your ticket, and do keep all your documents ready for the immigration. And on your I-20, you will be having a section called Program English Proficiency, and it will help you to identify that if you have to take your EAP exams, and if you do have to take your EAP, just book a slot for your EAP exams. It can be done online and offline. And just stay connected with the desijags.com for the frequently asked questions. And once everything is done, you can just start looking for the accommodation, which I think most of you have already found. And like you should get in touch with the future roommates and try to get your accommodation done. And these are the few steps that you should follow once your visa is approved. Thank you.
Just to add one more thing to it, we also have the pre-arrival checklist and the visa document up on the WhatsApp group. So you guys can check it out if you need anything else regarding your visa documentation for the people who haven't had their visa approved yet. Can we please move on to the next question, Nikita?
So our next question is, what is the process of registering to the class? And it will be answered by Pujita.
So, hi everyone again. So, first thing, like before registering to your classes, is that you need to set up your university network ID and email. So, you go to one.iu.edu and then you type like create my first IU account. So, make sure you have your university ID with you when you're doing this. So, then you follow the steps which are listed on the screen. So, once your ID is created, again you go back to one.iu.edu and then you can there search for student center. So in the student center you have this class search option where you can enter the term and also you can enter the course code that you're going to register for. So I'm sure most of you have are aware that you need to email your course coordinator or your advisor of what courses that are like required for you to take in this semester. There are certain courses that are required and not the ones which you take by your choice. So it's just make sure that you're aware of those courses before you register. So once you go to your class search and enter your term and the course code, you can either add the course to your cart or you can directly enroll to it. So that's the basic process.
I think that was really insightful, Pujita. Thank you so much.
So our next question is, what are the things you must carry and are you're not allowed to carry? And it will be answered by Isha.
Okay, so since you guys will be arriving in the fall, the weather is expected to be very pleasant. You may not carry like a lot of woolen clothes because you can just buy them here according to the winter here. But it's always advisable to carry like one jacket so as to not get cold. Rest can be water as per like all the weather conditions. In terms of cooking, I would say it's always good to carry like around a 2 or 3 liter cooker because that's the easiest pot to cook in all your lentils and stuff. A non-stick pan and a spatula would also be a non-stick pan, a spatula, and I guess one medium-sized cooking pot should be an ideal thing to get from India. Other than that, like all the cutlery and glasses, bowls, whatever you need, you can just buy it from here. There are shops like you can just buy them here in Patel stores or Walmarts. Apart from that, I would say like a good amount of spices, whatever you feel like you use for your daily use. If you have, some special masalas that you use for your cooking, I think you can just get them. Rest everything, it's easily manageable here. So the next question, how to pay the bursar bill and till when can it be due? I think Nishit could be a good person to answer this.
Hey, hi. So the bursar bill, we go to one.io and then type in bursar pay, and then we can go into the website and pay their bill. And it would you can pay through many means, like you can pay through your debit card or credit card, or then even you can use Flywire or the Western Union for international like the payments. And then it would be due on the every month, like it would be due on the 10th of every month. Um, and you would be given like 4 days buffer period maybe, and then after that you'd be charged interest of 1.5%.
So like
Yeah, that
just
is
to
how we
add
pay
to
it.
it, so if you're talking about paying the fees here, you will be charged only when you register for your classes. Like after you register for your classes, you'll be having a due date, and then that should be the time when you should be paying for. Let's move on to the next question. How to find permanent or temporary accommodation? Krishna, can you please answer this question?
Yeah, sure. So if for the accommodations, I hope most of you have already started looking for it. And so the first step would be like finding roommates, like who do you want to stay with? And if you want to stay with the current students who already are staying here, you can find them on our Facebook group. Like we can post the link in the chat or in the group again, like it's Desijags Facebook group. You can search it on Facebook as well. So if you join the group, you can see a lot of posts from the current students or the students who are currently in Indianapolis and looking for roommates. So you can reach out to them and join their apartments as a roommate. So that's one option. And most of these people, they post around July or end of June. So like if they are looking for roommates for August, so then like a month in advance or at least a couple of months in advance would be a good time to look for that. So that's one option. And the second option would be like, if you have your own group of friends already formed as roommates, then you can go ahead and apply for a new lease. If you want to apply for a new lease, we have posted an Excel sheet on the WhatsApp group. So on the Excel sheet, there is a header, and on the header, we have mentioned the most frequently reached out are the people, like, I mean, the incoming students where they would live if they come to Indianapolis, like Lockfields, Gardens of Canal Court, Canal Square, Avenue, Taylor, and Indiana Flats. These are some of the apartments that people usually stay at. And you can, like, if you have 4 or 5, 4 people for 2 BHK or 2 people for 1 BHK, if you have those people already formed like a group, then you can submit your applications, and the procedure will be different for each apartment complex. Like Lockfield has a different approach and Canal Square has a different approach. So once you submit the basic outline would be like, once you submit the application, the leasing office would reach out to you with the availability of the apartments, and if you are okay with that apartment, you can go ahead and pay the rest of the amount that they quoted for, and they'll give you an apartment. And before that, you have to sign a lease, and the lease, like most of the apartments require you to sign the lease in person, but I think Canal Square are at least 1 or 2 apartments allow online leasing as well, but you have to check with that apartment leasing office. So for the temporary accommodations, like IUPUI doesn't provide any temporary accommodations. So what we can do, or what we came up with, is like, you can again circulate another Excel sheet or something that with the people who are looking for temporary accommodations, like maybe for a week or a couple of days. And if there are anybody from fall 22, like from your group, if they already reached Indianapolis and rented apartments already there, so we can match with them, and maybe you can stay with them for a couple of days. And we can also do the same with the current students as well. Like we can request current students to get, I mean, if they have any vacancies, accommodate 1 or 2 people for a couple of days. So that's one thing that we can offer. I mean, that also be done on the social media networks only, like a Facebook or WhatsApp group. Apart from that, you can look, like there are a lot of hotels or motels nearby, which are within walking distance as well. So if you are just looking for a stay for a day or 2 days, that should not be a major problem. Like they charge around 50 to 70, or so that's the basic rate, but based on the day and time you are coming at, so it might vary a little, like around close to $100 a day. So you can reserve those motels or hotels for that 1 or 2 days. So that's another option too. And say, I cannot stress it enough, like you should start looking for your accommodations if you haven't. I know a lot of people might be still waiting for their visas, or like finding roommates, but like coming to Indianapolis without an accommodation can be very, very difficult. Like because there are no temporary accommodations, and staying in hotels, motels would be very like expensive. So I'd suggest you to start, if you haven't started the process yet, like do it right now. Like look for at least 2 roommates, find a group, and start applying for accommodations. And if you need any help, like reach out to us, like any of us from the WhatsApp group, just post, and then we'll try to help as much as we can. That's all.
I think that was really knowledgeable and informative. Thank you so much for answering that question. We can just move on to the next one. What are the immunization requirements, and how can we take the vaccines, and does the health insurance cover them? Pujita, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah. So there are certain immunizations that are required, like you need to provide like medical documentation for them. So this includes the tetanus vaccine, varicella vaccine, MMR, and meningitis. You can find the required, like on IUPUI website, you can find like required vaccinations in more details, but so these are the mandatory ones which you need to provide, like medical documentations, and you need to upload them to the med proctor, which is also available on one.iu.edu. So you need to submit all your information there. And it's also mandatory that you get your tuberculosis test done, which needs to be done here and not in India. You need to take it in here in USA. So you can call to the Coleman Hall and take an appointment, which is Coleman Hall is away. It's there on the campus. So you can just take an appointment and they do this. So all these immunizations are covered by your health insurance. And the cost for the TB test is if it is taken like off the campus, then few accept the health insurance and few do not. So that depends. But most of us, I think most of the students prefer taking it at the campus. So it will be covered with your health insurance.
Yes, that was
So-
very correct.
Okay, so the next question would be, are there any clinics, hospital that accept IUPUI health insurance, and how to claim the insurance bill? Krishna, keep answering this question.
Okay. So like Pujita said, so most of these vaccinations are accepted by IUPUI health insurance. So IUPUI health insurance provided by Anthem, and like it is mandatory for all the international students. Like you cannot take an exemption unless you have like a specific reason, like a religious reason or any other reason. Like you cannot be exempted from that. So most of our international students are required to take IUPUI health insurance, and I think it's about $800 to $900 for fall semester and close to $1,000 for spring semester. But it's a really good insurance, and it covers, like, Anthem is a good provider, and it's accepted most of the places, like in Indianapolis and also all over the US. So you can go to any clinic or any hospital that Anthem is accepted, and you can use IUPUI health insurance at that. If you are asking particularly locations near IUPUI, we have a clinic in the campus center. Campus center is the hub of student life. So that's where most of us go to, like if there are any recreational programs or anything happening, and even for academic purposes, like some like getting your ID cards and other things, you visit campus center very often. And there is a clinic in the campus center itself, so you can get your vaccinations done, and some of the like required medication, you can take it from there. And within walking distance, there is Coleman Hall. So Coleman Hall, so you have a lot of like nurses and head nurses there. So you can visit there for first aid, or if you have any like emergency, not emergency, like if you are running a fever or you have wounded yourself or any immediate attention, you can go to Coleman Hall, and with your student ID, you would be accepted there. You don't need any appointments or anything. And there is University Hospital and IU Methodist Hospital. These two are the major hospitals, and you need, like if you are going to visit a doctor, you need an appointment to go to IU University Hospital or IU Methodist. But IU Methodist has a emergency ward. Like if it is not office hours, like if you think campus center's clinic or Coleman Hall would be closed at that time, or you need to see a doctor immediately, then you can go to the ER. And all these places that I mentioned, they take IUPUI health insurance, and not these places only. Like you can go to any hospital, and most of these hospitals, because Anthem is really recognized, they accept IUPUI health insurance, and it's a very good thing to have. And for the claims, like if you are just going to visit the hospital and you say your student ID or your Anthem insurance number, then the claim will be automatically submitted on your name. Like the hospital itself process the claim, so you don't have to do anything from your end. But if there is something, like if there is a hospital that doesn't do the claim from their end, then you can reach out to Anthem's customer care and give the details about what has happened and stuff, and they will do a claim on your behalf.
Thank you. And the next question would be, are there job portals or online listing where TA, RA or GA or a campus jobs are publicly listed, or there is any other specific ways where to go about? Shesha, can you answer this?
Hi guys. So generally the TA, RA and GA positions are given with the scholarship at the time of admission. However, if you do not get these, you can also get these posts by maintaining a good rapport with a certain professor. And if they have an opening, then you might get a chance. And there's also a few ways to go about campus jobs. One is through the Handshake app or the website, and the other one is from referrals. You can also visit offices of mass recruiters like Campus Center, the library office, parking office, catering services, and there are also part-time job fairs where you can attend, and you might get a chance to work on campus.
Thank you. And the next question would be, what is the process of applying to on-campus jobs? Shesha, can you answer this?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, you can go on the Handshake website. You upload your resume, you fill out the application, and then you wait to hear back from that department. And then the other way that I mentioned is from referrals. So you can email the department head, and if they are interested, you send them your resume, and they will call you in for an interview.
Nikita, can we please move on to the next question?
Sorry, I was muted. So how do you secure an internship or a part-time? And is it to possibly work off campus? Shesha, would you answer this?
Right. So for internships, there's generally like online websites like Glassdoor and stuff where you can apply from. But the most popular way is to network via LinkedIn. I'm pretty sure you guys know how that works. And also there's career fairs on campus that happen every semesters. So it's very important that you get your face out to the recruiters for them to look at you and then take a look at your resume. And coming to working off campus, it is definitely a big risk, and it's also illegal. So I mean, we do not recommend you do this, but this is at your own discretion. And if you get caught, you might get deported. So just be careful with working off campus.
Yes, it would be ideal not to work off campus because you would be anyway having your TAs or RAs or part-times on campus. So I think that is enough for you to survive in the US. So regarding this, I think we can move on to the living expenses kind of question. Apurva, would you be able to answer that?
Yes. So the majority of the living expenses is your rent. So this again depends upon where you decide to stay. So if you go to Lockfields or Indiana Flats, that would be around $300 for you. If you go to Canal or Gardens, it will be closer to 500. And if you go for fully furnished apartments like the Avenue or the Taylor, it would be around 700 to 800. So apart from this major category of your living expense, that is rent, comes the other expenses like your utilities, Wi-Fi and electricity. So utilities Wi-Fi take around like $20. Again, this is assuming that you have roommates. So like if 4 people are sharing, then that would be around $20 per person for utilities and $20 for Wi-Fi. And then electricity will come around $50. But again, in winters, because of the heaters and all, the electricity might go up a little bit. So it can go anywhere from like $70 to $80 per person per month. So total, it will be around anywhere between $70 to $100 for these 3 things. That is utilities, Wi-Fi, and electricity. The next expense would be grocery. So if again you're sharing your grocery also with your roommates, with like 4 people, it would come to around $100 per person. So the total expense would be anywhere from $600 to $800 per month, again depending upon where you decide to stay. So if it is Lockfields, it will be closer to 600. If it is Canal, it will be closer to 800. Now, because we are international students, we are eligible to work on campus for 20 hours. So by doing that, you will earn around like $1,000 a month. So that would be more than enough for you to kind of cover your living expenses, which is close to 600, 800, and again, any miscellaneous expenses you may have. So if you can get on campus employment for 20 hours, then you're good.
Yes, that was pretty much all the expenses in the US. I think one more expense that I would like to add would be your phone plans. So let's move on to the next question. That would be like, how do we buy a SIM card in the US? What would be more preferable, a family plan or a prepaid or a postpaid card? Teja, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, sure, I can do that. So there are 2 options to getting a SIM card over here. Like either you can get into a family plan, which is generally postpaid plans, or you could get a prepaid SIM at any general store, like for example, Family Dollar. So or Walmart. So the preferable option would be getting into a line. So when you get over here, you could like get along with your friends and get into a line, which would be cheaper, because the signal strength are much better with getting a postpaid SIM when compared to getting a prepaid SIM.
Yeah. So there are multiple options that you can get here, basically, just on your requirements on what do you want. So let's move on to the next question. That would be the EAP. Can we give the EAP test? Can we take the EAP test from India? What would be the process for registering the test? And how much would be the cost for it? And how do we prepare for it? Anvi, would you like to take the question?
Yes, sure. So you can take the EAP remotely as well. It just you have to schedule an appointment beforehand. Also, it's preferred that you have to take the EAP exam before your meeting with the academic advisor. For registering for the EAP, in your additional letter, which is in your Atlas account, you will have the links for all the placements that you have to take. Usually undergrad students have to take math and chemistry placements as well. For the fee, it's usually $52 and it will be billed to your bursar, and it's a one-time fee, so no amount of placements, you have to pay it once. So if you have like 3 placements, you just have to pay it like once only. And yeah, that's
just to add more to it, EAP is basically for people who have had like less than 7 bands in IELTS or less than 100 points in TOEFL. So it would just be mentioned on your admit card if you are required to take the EAP or not. And regarding the test materials, like it's just basically your basic version of your IELTS exam or your TOEFL exam. It does not have a speaking section in it, and we Desijags have also curated a list of resources for you guys, which will be posting on the group soon. So just stay tuned for it. Let's move on to the next question. Nikita, would you like to take control?
Okay. The next question would be, what kind of fraud calls should you avoid and aware of, and the scams? Apurva, will you answer this question?
Yeah. So there are like different types of scams that happen here, especially with international students, and the scams, like the people who the scamsters, basically, they get innovative ways to scam us. So I think you don't have to worry about any other scams for now because you're still in India. But the major I'll say important thing to remember is about accommodation and what kind of people you're choosing to stay with. For instance, if you are still in India and if you already here claiming to be students, make sure that you do your research about them, like make sure that they're legit students. And how you can again do is by just typing their name, and if you just, for example, Apurva IUPUI, if you type my information as to what department I am in and things like that. So make sure that they're legit students. Because in the past there have been these roommate scams where they ask you for money, like huge sums, like maybe they'll ask you give 1 month's rent in advance and stuff like that, and then they will never, like basically there is no accommodation here or things like that. So make sure that you do not pay any huge amounts. First of all, make your research, make sure that these people are legit. Secondly, do not ever give huge amounts of sums, like like $500 or anything like that. It's okay if they're asking for a token amount, which is maybe like $50 or $100 to just book your spot in their room. That is fine, but do not send huge sums. And again, if you have any doubts or anything, you can always reach out to us to make sure that that person is legit. We have our Desijags Facebook groups, where we always try to filter people and make sure those are like the legit people who are admitted to IUPUI, and then only add them. So if you have found accommodation through that, there is pretty good chance, I mean, it's like 99% those are genuine people, but again there can be 1% chance where somebody might have infiltrated the group. But again, if you think about other groups which are there on Facebook, like the international admissions or any other pages, we don't have control over that. So we are not sure how like the people over here looking for people to share their rooms and all, how much genuine they are. So make sure that you do not randomly go on giving money to people here before coming here. And again, if you have any doubts, you can always reach out to us. Then there are other types of scams that happen once you're here. So once you get your SIM card, and I don't know how these people get information that you are a student or something. They will so when I came, I got a call literally like 2-3 days after I landed in US, that there is some problem with my immigration. And there was an immigration person like talking on the phone with me, saying that give your passport and give your this number and things like that. So again, these people have much more important things to do, so these people are not going to call us. So make sure that you do not give any personal details. You might get calls from saying that you're we are from IRS or identity theft and things like that. Never ever give your personal details. These all are especially targeted to international students, because they know that we are scared kind of, or we are too much worried about our immigration status and things like that. So they kind of take advantage of that. So make sure you don't give your personal details. And again, if in a situation of doubt, always reach out to us, reach out to Desijags and OIA. We have resources to deal with these kind of situations, and also experiences from the past, so we can guide you as to what to do and what not to do. So be aware of these scams.
So I've been getting another fraudulent calls recently from a private number saying we're speaking from Amazon, and someone from Amazon from your account has ordered huge orders, like for $1,200 or $1,500 in URL. If you haven't ordered it, just press 1 and you'll be eligible for a refund, and then they would be asking for your account numbers. So this is also happening in the US. So just be aware of all kind of scam calls.
And these people always ask your personal details, which you're not supposed to share at the first place. And secondly, they will ask to pay money via gift cards and things like that. So everything is very fishy. So in any situation of any doubt, just reach out to us or OIA, and yeah, you'll be fine. You'll do good. Because there have been cases in the past where people actually give money and there are bad experiences here. So yeah.
Thank you, Apurva. The next question would be how to get a state ID how to get a driving license in a state, and how long the international driving license is valid. Nishit, can you answer this?
Yeah, hi again. So for getting a state ID or a driving license, we would need like few documents. Like we would need a passport and then visa, and then your I-20 form, and then we would need like two proof of address and the social security ineligibility if you guys don't have social security, and or if you have a social security, then the SSN would be required for getting a license. And coming to the international driving license, it would be valid for only 1 year. Um, and you can use that license for getting a rental car or anything. And for getting a rental car without a return ticket, you would need a credit card to do that, like to get a car. And I think that's all. And you can get a license at the nearest BMV um, nearby your location. Yeah, then first you get give your knowledge based test, like they'll ask you about questions like science and rules and all, and then you would be giving the skills test on the road. Then you'll be approved to drive on the road legally. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question would be, how can we find accommodation off campus? When do we sign our lease apartment, and when do we take the renter's insurance? Krish Bro, can you answer this?
Yeah, I think I covered most of it in my previous answer, but like if you are going for off-campus accommodation, just go for the list of apartments that we mentioned in the Excel sheet already, like Lockfields, Gardens, Canal Square or Canal Overlook apartments, Indiana Apartments, Avenue, and 1201 Taylor. So these are the places where most of the Indian students stay. If you are staying apart from these places anywhere else, like you won't find any IUPUI students or Indian students. So that could be very difficult for your like group sessions, like maybe solving assignments and preparing for exams, or like maybe having just social hangouts and stuff. So, and keeping the safety and security also in mind, like these are the places which are very walkable, within walkable distance from campus, so you don't have to like transport a lot of distance. You can just walk 5-10 minutes and reach any of these apartment complexes. So so I would not suggest you to look anywhere apart from these apartment complexes that we mentioned. And how do you find accommodations? Like I mentioned, you can look into the Facebook group, find current vacancies. If not, like form a group on your own and apply for the accommodations. And to sign the lease, like once you complete your application and pay the deposit and every other fees that they asked for, so they will, if there is a availability of the apartment, they will let you know, and you can sign the lease. Like I said, most of the apartments require you to sign the lease in person, but there are in some cases, and some apartments allow you to sign the lease online even before you come to United States. So you can do that as well, but you have to check with your leasing office to do that. And for the renter's insurance, like most of the apartments, I think all of the apartments require you to have a rental insurance before you sign the lease. Rental insurance is something like if there is an accident in your apartment, like there's a fire accident, there's a water flooding, and if the apartment is damaged or if your belongings are damaged, then you will be covered by the rental insurance. And the rental insurance is not provided by the apartment complex. You have to buy it on your own. So you can buy it from a private provider. Like there are multiple providers like State Farm, Progressive, Geico, Insurance, Allstate. So these are insurance providers. You can just type on Google any of these companies. Like State Farm is the most preferred one, or most student goes to State Farm because they have like very competitive price. And but these insurance companies, they have tailored prices for each individual based on their characteristics. Like if they have any SSN, if they have any like employment, like their age, marital status, and like based on all these different parameters, they give you a quote, and it differs from person to person. So you have to go to the website by your own and find out how much they are quoting you for. And also, like, if for the generic idea, like you can have up to 2 people on one policy, and each policy can cost about $10 to $15 a month. So it's not a lot, like maybe $4 to $5 per person per month is what it would cost you for the renter's insurance. I think I covered. Yeah, if you have any
Yes, I
more
think
questions.
most of the things are covered. So now let's move on to the next thing. Like, everyone likes scholarships, right? So let's hear it from Vidhur. How can we apply for scholarships, and are there any scholarships available at IUPUI?
Sure, Isha. So there's different types of scholarships. The one we see very often for grad students is the one they get with the admission. This is very common across IU schools. We don't see this very often in Purdue, but you get one with the admission itself, and then there are department or professor specific scholarships. These are usually funded by the grants that actually support the faculty or the department itself. And then there is donor-based scholarships, which are more specific to schools, and these are like board members or founders of the schools that are actually funding. So the one that is most likely to fund grad students is when you actually work with a professor as an RA or a TA, and these professors have grants that are supporting research. They'll be willing to actually give you a scholarship, and that's the whole purpose of a grant, is to actually support students. So if you're actually interested in scholarship, you should definitely reach out to your professors in your department who are actually performing research and have a lot of grants. And then if you're actually thinking about scholarship at this point, that's a good sign. You're thinking in the right direction. Of course, nobody's going to walk up to you and give you scholarship. You have to work for it. You have to hustle for it. There's a couple of ways. Like I said, reach out to the department and talk to the department and professors to actually get the scholarship. There's also one.iu where you actually search for scholarship, and then you'll get a whole list of scholarships. But the problem with that is, like 80% of those scholarships are actually FAFSA based, which is a federal funding agency. So for that, you need to be a citizen here. So we are not eligible for that scholarship. So make sure you have that filter, and which is the reason I'm reiterating. The best scholarship is to actually get supported by a professor in the department. That way you actually get some research experience, you add it to your resume, you have some projects on your resume. So yeah, and please reach out to us if you have any further academic questions related.
That was really insightful on scholarships, Vidhur. Thank you so much for that. I think you covered pretty much all the scholarships. So let's just move on to the next question about the airport transportation. So does IUPUI provide any pickup service from the airport? How can we reach to our destination accommodation from in the airport? I think so. Just to start with, there's this airport transportation that airport provides. Obviously, so there are airport cabs basically. So when you get out of the airport, there's a green button on the right side of the exit gate, which is the button to the airport cabs basically. So they take cash, and which is the easiest option for all the international students, because Uber requires some credit card or debit card, and they don't take cash basically. So I think airport transportation is the easiest thing. Apart from that, OIA is, I mean, Desijags is in talks with the OIA to start some airport shuttles for students. Pujita, would you want to elaborate on that a little?
Yeah, so OI has agreed to pick up few or at least try to provide transportation for few students, but it's not for everybody. So we will soon be sharing an Excel sheet where you guys, if you have booked your tickets already, can provide us with your arrival dates. So I think it's mostly going to be if they find like most of the students are arriving at a particular day, they're going to pick some 3 to 4 random days where they are going to provide you guys transportation. So that's how it's going to work. So we will be sharing a Excel sheet so that you guys can fill up the details. And once we give that and put forward to OIA, we'll reach out to you guys and let you know about it.
Like it's always good to have a supportive system like for your transportation, because it's always difficult to travel in new cities, right? So I think OIA can help us there. The next question to be addressed would be, what are some recreational facilities available at IUPUI, and how can we join any sports or cultural clubs? I think Vidhur can answer that.
Sure, Isha. So there's something called a campus recreation fee. This is $50 per semester for fall and spring, and becomes $30 in the summer. So you get a lot of facilities if you actually pay this recreation fee, and I highly recommend this. You actually get access to the campus gym, which is a little smaller, but it has a lot of equipment, especially a lot of cardio equipment, and they do a lot of group classes also. Apart from that, my favorite part is NIFS, National Institute of Fitness and Sports. This is actually a national facility, and it's a very, very big establishment, and it has a lot of highly trained coaches who are actually trained athletes. And of course, there's a lot of equipment in there. It's a very exciting place if you are into fitness and even recreational sports. I highly recommend you actually visit NIFS. You also get access to natatorium, which has a Olympic-size swimming pool, and which is also home for a lot of Olympians. I don't know if you know Lily King, who's been like a consecutive gold winner in diving. She's from this pool. And if you're actually into swimming, you're coming to the right campus. And coming to the cultural clubs, we have Desijags Dance Club, which is led by our members. And that's a nice platform to actually be introduced or have like a dance platform. We have IUPUI Jags Cricket Club. We have tournaments in summer. We play hard tennis, and if you're actually really good at it, we also have a leather ball team. You can join that team too. We are also having intramural soccer tournaments in fall. We have a team for that too, if you're into soccer. And there's been a lot of requests for badminton teams. We are trying to get a team together and have sessions in that auditorium, but that's still in talks. And then Lockfield also has a volleyball court. I mean, it's IUPUI's volleyball, beside Lockfield. Yeah, there's a lot of recreational opportunities. Yeah, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Okay, so we also have a couple more live chat questions that are waiting to be answered. So the first one was like, can you please provide the checklist for all the things that we have to bring and what not to bring? So I guess I've already answered the question. Apart from that, I would be putting up a list on the group, which can act as a reference for you guys. I mean, it's not very hard and fast that you have to get all the stuff. You can just get all the basic stuff like some cooking pots or, basic jackets or something. But that can act as a reference sheet.
We also have a couple of documents on desijags.com website. You can visit there, and then there are frequently asked questions, and there are a couple of documents on which lists out what all things you have to bring.
Do you wanna quickly show them the website and show where can they find it, or give them the link in the chat? Something.
Yeah, I can give the link in the chat. I know sharing is very slow. You don't have to take a lot of time.
I guess I think all the other questions were answered by the panelists. So we have another question in the chat: credit cards and banks, which are the most common, and what are the best options? Krish Bro, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah. So for the banks, most people go for Chase and PNC. Those are the two most frequently used banks in Indiana. If you are below 25, you can go to Chase, and if you are above 25, you can go to PNC, because they have some restrictions on student checking accounts, and student checking accounts are free, and zero balance accounts. You don't have to worry about keeping a minimum balance on the account. And for the credit cards, you need SSN to get a credit card. So I think there are a couple of Bank of America, and there is another company which gives credit cards without SSN too. But it's better to wait until you get SSN and get your first credit card. Like American Express and Discover are most popular ones with credit cards.
Yes, I think that was a great answer. Let's move on to the next question. Are we allowed to cook in the North Hall? Anvi, can you answer that question for us?
Yes, so North Hall and University Tower have a common kitchen on every floor. So you just have a microwave. So whatever you can make in the microwave, that's all that is allowed. You can't keep microwaves in your room, but you can keep a mini fridge in your rooms. But yeah, so usually people cook instant stuff like noodles or whatever. But yeah, that's all you can cook.
Yes. So
yes, you can keep a kettle in the room as well. And I'm sure meal options, those who are living on campus, you will have the tower dining parts, like the meal plans, unless you have something else thought of.
So there's another question: is Zolf credit card reliable, and can we increase the scholarship? Krishbro, can you answer that question again?
Yeah, I think Vidr can answer about the scholarships, but for the Zolf credit card, yeah, it is reliable. There are a lot of credit cards where you can go to, and from different financial institutes. And I've seen a few people use Zolf, and it's fine. But I just mentioned the ones that are most used, and American Express and Discover, Bank of America are the most used credit cards. But you can get other credit cards as well.
And the last question would be about the scholarships. Can we increase the scholarships? Which would be the last question for today. Vidur, would you like to answer that for us?
Sure. So there's multiple ways to do this. So assuming you already have a scholarship with your admission, you can increase it by actually working with the professor and saying, this is my departmental funding, and this is the funding I'm getting from the professor themselves. Or you can actually have multiple scholarships, in the sense that you can apply to another donor-based scholarship, which are much smaller, but you can have that too. And then there is another type of scholarship where they don't want to increase your hourly pay. You're a graduate or research assistant. They don't want to increase your hourly pay, and but your ROI is so high that you are actually contributing to the research or the department so much that you actually deserve a raise or something. They actually give you a credit for your next semester. You can redeem that scholarship also. So yeah, like keep that in mind. The department always sees graduate students as investments when they're actually giving a scholarship. So they always want to see how much in return they are getting. So make sure you're actually contributing to the research and like publishing or generating some scholarly outcome from in the department. That is one best way to actually make sure you have scholarship. Hope that makes sense.
Yep, I think that really helped everyone here. So I think it's time to get assigned to the breakout rooms and get your department specific questions answered if you guys have any. So Anvi, can we have the breakout rooms up so people can join? So guys, you guys can just join in.